everybody, this is Jennifer. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books, music, movies, anything else that takes my fancy, but hey, mainly it's books. So today I'm doing my April 2018 reading wrap-up. I finished 13 things this month. Mostly they were short, especially because of the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. And my vlog and my TBR are on this channel right now, so you can look them up if you want to. So let's just go ahead and get well, technically I think it was, no, technically it was 14, but I covered Last Night at the Viper Room, which is the story of River Phoenix, in my February and March wrap-up. So yeah, technically it was 14. All right, so first up was, should really be organized. It was Rivers of London, Cry Fox, Volume 4, wherein Inspector Nightingale saves the day and makes a whole bunch of dogs attack their owners. It's lovely. That was 4 stars. Next up was, we have a lot of, well, we have that one comic book, but we have quite a few graphic novels that I finished this month. So we have Paper Girls, Volume 4. This takes place, I think, in the 90s. This part of it is taking place in the 90s. Oh, 1999. So they're now at the end of the millennium, are time-traveling paper girls, and one of them is a bit of a goth and is married to a goth dude. And this lady here likes guns. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it because, one, I kind of forgotten about some of it, and second of all, it's the 4th one in the series, so I'm not going to spoil anything. But this did get 4 stars. For me, it probably should be like a 3.5 or whatever, but I liked it. And it's the new one that came out this month, it looks like. Yeah, I don't have the date on here, but that's fine. Yay. All right, so next up was, see if you can get this. It's by Dave Hill. He's a comedian and a musician. It's called Tasteful Nudes and Other Misguided Attempts at Personal Growth and Validation. Basically, it's just stories from him growing up in essay-ish kind of form. I liked it pretty good. I gave it 3 stars. He's funny, but I don't know. I don't think his sense of humor came through all the way here. And some of the stories were about like him playing hockey growing up, and I'm like, I don't care about hockey. Anyway, so yeah, 3 stars. Pretty decent. Next up was Deadly Class Volume 6. This is not the end. Again, there's going to be spoilers content if I tell you what's going on here, especially if you're on like Volume 4 or Volume 5. So frankly, the cover is a bit of a spoiler. So maybe I'll just put it down here. No, I'm kidding. By Rick Remender. This got 4 stars. I liked it pretty good. It was kind of going downhill for me around 4 and 5, but this perks things up a little bit, so yay. So number 5, the next one I have, I don't own. I got it from the library. It's by Christopher Buehlman. It's called The Lesser Dead, and it's this pair, well, not this pair, this group of vampires who are living in the sewers and then the abandoned subway tunnels of New York in 1978. They find their existence threatened when a small group of vampire children want to go and mess everything, well, they just mess everything up. Anyway, so that got 4 stars for me. It was in danger of being a 3-star because, well, for one, I find Christopher Buehlman's pacing a bit problematic. I found it in his last book, The Necromancer's House, where there's a lot of setup and not a lot of finale. Anyway, so that is a bit of a problem for me. However, I really like his characters. I like his writing, and the coda at the end really just pushed it over to a 4 for me. So yeah, I ended up really liking it. Next up, I also don't have like a picture to show you. It was a audiobook that I own. It's the History of Jazz 2nd edition by Ted Gioia. It's a very good overview. There's not enough Sarah Vaughan in it for me. That was a tiny little pet peeve I had. I kind of wish I had like a paper copy, like an actual physical copy, so that I can like make notes and say what I want to, because when you're listening, listening to an audiobook, it's kind of hard to make notes. And so jazz is something I want to learn more of, so I really need a copy so I can just like go off on the tangents I need to go off on to learn about what I want to learn. Anyway, but overall it was still a pretty good book, and I got 4 stars. Let's see. Oh, my only 5-star read for this month, and it's my new favorite book, and it's the library version, so I don't have a copy of that to show you either. However, the second I get a chance, I'm gonna get a real copy of this book, because we're going to Reread City sometime in the second half of the year. And it was Circe by Madeline Miller. A brand new release, just came out this month. I got it, I pre-ordered, you know, I got on the holds list before it came out from the library, so I got it within like a week or so of it coming out, and I listened to the audiobook, and it is so immersive. It's so like, pardon the pun, enchanting. It's enchanting, and it sweeps you away off into another world, and it's wonderful. It goes on to there's just so much going on here. And if you're a fan of mythology and all that stuff, I'd consider it a must read. It's just so interesting. And there's so much going on about the nature of humanity, about, you know, I loved it, and I'm going to get it no matter what. Anyhow, yeah, 5 gigantic stars for Circe by Madeline Miller. Excellent book. As a matter of fact, I've been reluctant to read Song of Achilles. I haven't read Song of Achilles yet by Madeline Miller, and I've been reluctant because I don't want it to I don't want to give up any of the space that Circe is taking up right now. I actually got I had been on hold for Song of Achilles, and then I gave it back. And then I got back on the holds again because I just needed a little bit more time to sit with Circe. And yes, I'm enjoying it so much. Anyway, so next up I read, this was also a library ebook I borrowed, The Hunger by Alma Katsu. This is newish. It's about the Donner Party. It's like a horror reimagining. It's like they're beset by this supernatural horror, and then you get the banal horror of the horrible, horrible people they were somehow dumb enough to let in their midst. And yeah, I don't know what happened with this book, because I was really interested in reading it, but once I got it, I was like, maybe I wasn't in the mood for it. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't think it was poorly written at all. I just wasn't into the story. So yeah, moving on. Next up was, we're getting into my Dewey's 24-hour readathon picks right now. The first book I read here was The House on Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne. Okay, so yeah, I did not rate The House on Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne because I just did not feel it was... I am not the target demographic for this book, so I feel like it's not really written for me. But I did enjoy it. It brought back some memories. I'm a big Eeyore girl. And yeah, you have like Christopher Robin growing up and learning stuff, so they're just like changing. That's really asinine, but whatever. Yeah, I didn't remember how salty some of the characters are. Like Rabbit, for instance. Some of them are like really like condescending towards some of the dumber characters. They're like, yeah, they were just mean, some of them. And then Rabbit wants to teach Tigger a lesson because he's so exuberant and bouncy all the time. He tries to get him lost, and then he ends up getting himself lost instead. Anyway, so yeah, this was okay. After that, I read, new page. Yeah, after that I read Dream Country by Neil Gaiman. The only story out of this I really remember is the one with the muse, Calliope. Because apparently she'd been abducted by a human in order to make him a writing star or whatever, and it's how she gets loose. But I just can't get over how underwhelmed I am by the Sandman series. I'm a big Neil Gaiman fan, you know. I like pretty much all his writing, especially if he reads it himself. And I just thought I'd like these more, but this was a 3-star read. I didn't think it was bad. It just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't capture me the way I thought it would. Anyhow, after that, I read Bluets by Maggie Nelson. It's just hard to see the cover of because there's this big white square in the middle. But it's Bluets by Maggie Nelson. Take my word for it. Yeah, this got a 3-star read. 3-star for me too. I read The Argonauts last year and I gave that 4 stars, and it was one of my more favorite nonfiction books. And this goes about in kind of the same, well, it's not really the same. This is mainly like thoughts about the color blue. There's also some relationship stuff in there that made me feel a little uncomfortable, to be frank. Because I'm like, I don't need to know this. This is TMI. And if you've read Maggie Nelson, you know that she's not shy about some things. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a little weird. However, her writing is always gorgeous, and she always breaks out these references where I'm like, yeah, I don't know any of that. How do you know all this stuff? Kind of like that. So in the end, I gave it 3 stars. The last graphic novel I read was The Beauty by Jeremy Hahn, Jason Hurley, and John Rausch. Yeah, so there's this STD going around, and it makes you beautiful, so people want to try to get it. However, after a certain amount of days, you kind of internally combust. So you've got these 2 detectives who are trying to figure out what's going on, and there's a government conspiracy and then a corporate conspiracy because, of course, there's money to be made out of a cure for this, or you have some people wanting a cure, but other people just want to like mitigate the thing so they can keep making money off of it. Anyway, yeah, so that's going on. This illustrated to me quite literally, well, not literally, because the dangers of bringing some graphic novels to work with you to read at lunchtime, just don't. I didn't in this case, but I'm like, dude, it's a good thing I wasn't reading this at work, because there's some nudity. Anyway, so yeah, be careful about graphic novels and bringing them to work. I'll just bring regular novels to work from now on. But like I said, I did not actually bring this to work, but I did think what would happen. Oh, anyway. So the last thing I got off of my TBR, and where is it? Oh, here we go. Oops. The Polysyllabic Spree by Nick Hornby. It's a book about, well, it's a bind-up of a year's worth of reading that he did for the Believer magazine, or yeah. I did not give this I didn't give this a rating either, because I mostly skimmed it to get what I wanted out of it and then get it off my shelf, because I am like removing so many books from my shelf. And I'm getting rid of them in preparation for my move in June. And I'm just like, I am being pretty freaking ruthless. So I'm taking the ones that I kind of want to read, and I'm skimming through them, and if I decide I want to read them, yeah, anyway. So this is the last one I finished. Basically all I did was go through the books here. So I didn't actually I didn't review it really, and I didn't give it a Goodreads rating because I didn't, you know, I don't think I read it closely enough in order to do that. But I do consider it one of my books that I went through, and I'm getting it off my TBR. Anyway, so yeah, that was my reading. It was kind of mediocre except for the Circe, because Circe was fantastic and it was awesome and I loved it. But other than that, it was kind of a meh reading month. Anyway, I'm hoping for better things in May. Maybe. Because I'm not going to have a whole lot of time for reading. But whatever. We'll see how it goes next month. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you have comments or anything like that, put it in the description box. Well, in the comments box below. Yeah, thanks. Also, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Bye, you guys.